want to listen to this woman about truth, because the fact of the matter is she's a constant liar. Her whole brand is built on a spin of lies, and I don't trust a word that woman says. So I think that it is very, very low of her to insinuate that we should listen to her truth, or she wishes that other members of the royal family told truths. I don't want to hear it from her. I really don't.
Well, she was referring to 8 years ago. She said, my dear friend Serena told me years ago, a lie can't last forever. And she added 8 years ago is a long time, but not forever. She's trying to move forward, Hugo, but she is still talking about, still harking back to issues or problems that she had when she was in the royal family.
Well, yes, she'll always do that. But actually, I think Samara and I and others do actually tell the truth about her, and I don't think she likes it very much.
Right, I mean, that's probably one of the points. She did mention in the podcast that she was thick-skinned. Again, I did kind of raise my eyebrows a little bit about that. But
apparently a failure is a win for her. She also said that, and she ought to know, because there have been plenty of them. And then also she said at the very end, if you persevered, which was I mean, thank you very much for making me watch an hour and a half of this stuff, by the way. I really needed that. At the very end, she said that her 15-year-old self would be very proud of her present-day self. And how she's doing. So I wonder what her 15-year-old self was like. I mean, God.
I don't think anyone's proud of their 15-year-old self. I mean, I don't understand what she was trying to say there. It was like the lack of authenticity in that interview was really palpable. Like, Emma Grede is, who was the interviewer, she's such a self-made East Londoner who actually really fought for what she has. And she's really the brains behind a lot of big brands, you know, the Kardashians, etc., which is a little bit tawdry, but, you know, she really is someone who worked her way to be there. Meghan, on the other hand, really socially mountaineered her way to the top. So it's very difficult to take, you know, this authentic side that Emma was giving and this complete lack of authenticity that Meghan was showing in the interview. It was very hard to watch. I don't know about
Meghan Markle, the woman who's climbed higher and faster than almost anyone in modern celebrity culture. But how much of that climb has been built on authenticity, and how much on strategy? Critics call it social mountaineering, a calculated rise to power, connection by connection, photo by photo. And with every new move, the lack of authenticity becomes harder and harder to ignore. Let's start where it all began, Hollywood. Before royalty, before Netflix, before the Sussex brand, Meghan was a working actress, hustling for recognition. But even then, insiders say she knew exactly where she wanted to go. Every introduction, every friendship, every headline was a step up the social ladder. It wasn't about belonging, it was about ascending. When Meghan met Prince Harry, the world fell in love with the fairytale, the American actress and the British prince. But beneath the romance, critics argue it was the ultimate power move. Suddenly, she wasn't just another celebrity, she was royalty. The titles, the attention, the global platform, all of it placed her at the very top of the social hierarchy, and once she got there, she didn't stay quietly royal, she rewrote the rules. When Meghan and Harry left the royal family, they claimed it was for privacy, peace, and independence. But what followed? Oprah interviews, Netflix deals, Spotify podcasts, red carpets, and endless publicity. For a couple who wanted distance from the spotlight, they've spent an extraordinary amount of time in front of it. That's not retreat, that's rebranding. In California, Meghan has built a new empire, and she's building it fast. From Hollywood elites to political power players, she's always positioned near the influential and the admired. Each new friendship is carefully curated, each public appearance precisely timed. It's social climbing in designer heels, wrapped in talk of compassion and empowerment.
Guys, when I was listening to it, and I didn't get the chance to write it down, but I started keeping a tally of the amount of times she actually used the word authentic. She used authentic, right. Authenticity. It was something that was scattered. I think it was an hour and a half long, and it was scattered throughout about talking about how authentic she was, how authentic her brand was.
25 times I counted.
You did count, did you?
Yeah,
25
because I have
times.
no life. But yeah, she probably said it more, but it was scattered throughout there, and it was like, that's the one thing you're missing, Meghan. Nothing is authentic about you.
I thought it was rather interesting that Emma Grede did that. I mean, I personally, I hate to tell you, being so very old-fashioned, hadn't heard of Emma Grede, and I imagine she did this thing so that she would be, you know, a lot of our people, the Meghan Markle people, would then watch her and say she'll also be better known. So now, and I was very impressed by her, and I looked her up, and she's done fantastic things, as you said. So what on earth she was doing except somehow sort of, you know, getting on the bandwagon with Meghan Markle, I don't really know. It inspired a thought to me, you know, as I was listening to this. I thought, you know, why don't I come here today and tell you about my my toothbrushing experience, you know, how I respect the toothbrush and how I throw energy into the brushing process, and how when I squeeze the tube, I'm connecting with life and sort of feeling that getting the goodness coming out of it. That was what I ended up thinking at the end of this. In other words, what I'm saying, it's all psychobabble.
Well, interesting. I came away from the thought thinking, I didn't feel overly offended by it. I was listening to if you came in as an outsider and didn't know the history of everything that's been going on, you would just listen to an entrepreneur talking with passion about her life and her business. And I think that the fact that we do have this long memory, she is trying to kind of change, as she talks, the narrative. And if she had come out with this interview 7 or 8 years ago, I think people may have been more favourable to her. I think it's because we still have the memory. We still know that everything that's gone on in the past. I think it's been such a wasted opportunity. She did seem to me as someone who was actually talking with passion about her business.
The thing is, nobody would ever listen to Meghan Markle if it wasn't the fact that she'd married to Prince Harry. Exactly what you were saying. I mean, the social mountaineering. I mean, because she's married to Prince Harry, it gives it a soap opera quality which seems to appeal to everybody. Otherwise, no one would care about her. I mean, a lot of other people doing the sort of things that she does. I mean, sprinkling petals over salads and stuff.
Well, I guess the newsline that came out of it was that the podcast is no longer. She's not going to do that anymore. So she said, I can only spread my jam so thin, which is some sort of, again, PR sort of line that she's probably been fed by a publicist. But she said that she doesn't want to do the podcast anymore because she wants to focus on her business. I mean, yet another business failure on a podcast that's about business. I mean, she really hasn't had a proper business for a year, so it was sort of weird to see her. It was a big juxtaposition of her sitting alongside this behemoth businesswoman who's self-made, and then her, as you said, who's just there because of who she married.
But here's the problem: people can tell when something isn't real. Every speech, every project, every appearance seems overproduced, polished to perfection. It feels like an audition for approval, not an act of sincerity. And that's why so many find Meghan hard to connect with. It's not her ambition that's the issue, it's the performance behind it. The public's reaction has shifted. At first, she was admired, strong, modern, outspoken. Now, there's fatigue. People are tired of the brand, tired of the drama, tired of the constant need for attention. Even her supporters are starting to question, where's the real Meghan? Meghan Markle's rise has been extraordinary, but at what cost? She's climbed every rung of the ladder, from actress to duchess to global influencer. But if you climb too fast, too calculated, and too high without grounding yourself in truth, you risk falling from grace just as quickly. Because no matter how glamorous the view from the top, authenticity will always matter more than ambition.
She spoke about business as well, didn't she? She said that, she's talking about she always wanted to do it when she was a child. She always had like some kind of stall, or would go to farmers markets, and talked about her grandfather and her mother running businesses. But she talked about that people would have thought that maybe she would have moved into fashion or beauty, or maybe acting. I mean, are you surprised that she's gone really full into this business idea rather than fashion, beauty, or acting?
Nothing surprises me. And I mean, she's said something about broadening out and coming out of the kitchen and into the drawing room or something. I don't know what she's going to do next. I mean, but at the end of things, and the problem with her is that she's gone down the celebrity route and taken Prince Harry with her. And celebrities have to keep reinventing themselves the whole time to keep in front of the media. And I predict that at some point the world will actually get bored with Meghan Markle, because she's not going to come out with anything new, because eventually she'll run out of new things to come out with, and then the world can get on with more interesting things. That's what I think.
Well, another aspect that I remember was that she said that having her social media, having her Instagram, really gives her ability to share her voice. I'm just going to pick up on that because we've heard a lot from her this year. I started writing down, we had a People interview way back in January. We had the interview with Jamie Kern-Lima. We had this one. We've had the podcast. We've had the With Love Meghan show. I mean, she has a loud voice, doesn't she?
I mean, I've got massive fatigue from the amount of stuff that she's foisting on us. It feels like every other week she's on this sort of unknown person's podcast, or somewhere making a post, or at a concert broadcasting her entire life out. I mean, for someone who yapped about privacy for so long, she's basically got the opposite of it. I mean, the videos that she's been releasing are very, very private moments, and the things that she's saying on camera are very, very private things about her life. So I'm really confused about how she's going to navigate the next couple of years and the next couple of decades if this is how much content she's putting out into into the ether every single day. I mean, the audience is fatigued. I don't even know how she would feel. And it's a very concerning and weird strategy, I must say.
Well, she says her Instagram page, she finds it liberating. And I've got written down here, she said she believes it's a place where she can share on her own terms. Remember, she doesn't allow comments. You're not allowed to comment, but this is a place where she says, yeah, she feels liberated. She feels free to share with everybody. So there we go.
Yeah, so leaving the firm was worth a couple of Instagram posts. All right, Meghan. I mean, for me, that's just not good enough.
Now talking of leaving, we ran an exclusive in the Sun on Saturday about 4 members of staff that have left Sussex Employ. Now, these were 3 very well respected, very professional comms staff, 2 communications directors, 1 based here in the UK, and also the person who was initially behind Meghan's Instagram page until recent weeks, where they've now joined Method Communications. They've got this whole new body of team that were behind the twerking video. How do we feel about this change of direction for the Sussexes, guys?
Well, I mean, it happens the whole time, doesn't it? She can't keep staff, and that's always a very bad sign. And that goes back for decades. Well, not decades. It goes back for years, though. I mean, everyone leaves. I mean, she's obviously a nightmare to work for. And I mean, I've told the story before, but, you know, first time I heard about it was when she was rude to the gardener when she was at Frogmore Cottage, and the head gardener went and complained to the Queen. Queen drove down in her Land Rover and ticked her off.
Oh, wow.
But that's ages ago.